Welcome. You're listening to the University of Akron Marketing Podcast, sponsored by S3 Technologies.
Well, it's called The Hardest Sport, and, I've ironically, the day after Ohio State's national championship, I just saw how their faith was connecting them and so forth, and I never quite realized that this movement was basically not just them starting it, it was from, I believe it started from Auburn University, so, and it made me think, that should be more talked about, more out there per se. And I believe that people actually talking about like what they want and what they value is important because there's just so much negativity right now in this world that we gotta find a balance, if that makes sense. Find where we can come together on certain purpose. And I found that sports is one of those things that the entire world has pretty much bonded together on. The Olympics. So it was more just like the concept. Sports can bring the purpose out, if that makes sense. So because it's a concept that everyone can agree on, we can use it as a asset, if you know what I'm saying. Which is why I focused on the sport aspect. And I was thinking just now that we could possibly, this can become more than just sports too, but I just focus on the sport is because it's something I know. It's something I'm studying to be in sport business, so it's just my purpose, if you know what I'm saying. Like, I know what I'm talking about, or it's something that I have a connection with, if that makes sense. So that's why I focused on sports specifically.
So talk a little bit about the actual concept of the social platform too.
Oh, the concept? Okay. Well, the main concept is just to get the positivity out there. Like, it could be just people talking about, like, they're overcoming the odds, or it could just be, as I said, sharing a prayer or sharing sharing some sort of positivity out there with the group, if that makes sense. It just, as I said, the whole purpose is just to get it out there.
Yeah. Can you give so for listeners who don't know the actual social platform, maybe do a little summary of what the actual platform is and how it works?
Okay. I called it The Hardest Sport. I personally, I just thought of the idea out of my head. It's not much of like, I don't know if I had much inspiration per se, but I've always felt that the purpose of why I called it that is because it's, heart, and something that I've always loved about sports is the stories. Like, if you ever gone to college game day and you watch all these stories of these guys having inspiring stories, at first it may not be always the most positive, but they've made it sort of a positive to bring them where they are, if that makes sense. I've always enjoyed those stories, and something that I believe we can spread to the world.
And you would do that through the social platform?
Yeah.
The Hardest Sport, right?
Mm-hmm. I've honestly thought about maybe this would be a good podcast per se, because, it would be awesome to get people to actually, like, I don't know, actually maybe actual athletes come on if they could and just talk about their actual stories, if that makes sense. So I don't know, there's just so much ideas that I feel that this idea can go forward, if that makes sense. And I'm very excited to possibly pursue it even more if I can.
What would you hope the outcome of the social platform would be?
I mean, for me, the outcome, I always wanted to have success for myself, but at the same time, though, I want it to help others too. Because, like, as I said, when there's all this negativity, I want someone to see these stories and realize they can do it. Just something that will inspire others. So it's may not necessarily, like, I've always wanted success for myself, but if I can bring that to others in some way, like through these inspiring stories, then that's all I want. Just inspire others to be better, and I don't know what's the right word, but just to be the best they can be, if that's the right.
Yeah. So with the platform itself, with the social platform, explain if you can explain the actual platform itself. So your idea when you wrote the article, you were talking about how people engage with the platform.
Yeah.
And what makes it special or unique.
Well, I first thought of it like if you're like, I don't know if you're posting on Facebook or Instagram, just if you have an account, you can put your story up there. Now, like as I told you earlier when this mic wasn't on, if you're like, it can be for kids or for pros. All I'm saying is I want with like younger kids if they have permission to, because I don't want to put someone on there that doesn't want to be on there. But I mainly thought about it like it's a create your own content sort of type way, if that makes sense. It could be, as I said, anybody if you really think about it.
Yeah, and you would be posting your stories, right?
Yeah. Now there might be a question of like what defines a sport, and you got to have a whole podcast on that subject. Mm-hmm. But I just want the story and inspiration is what's the main key. I want people to see these stories, as I said earlier, and be persuaded to possibly pursue their dreams or just keep them going and do whatever they want possible.
That's good. And then how did you feel about so when you wrote about building the social platform overall, how did you feel about what you produced? Do you think that this is something that's achievable?
I think it is. I mean, there could be adjustments. Everything's never perfect, if you know the world. But I do think with some refinement, I can do this, and I'm excited to see what I can do with it. Plus, it would be a very good experience thing to put on my resume and stuff. And I don't know. I'm just very excited to see where this idea can go. Because as I said, I've always been a person like I may have not been like a team captain in sports, but I've always wanted to care for others, and I believe this platform could be like my way to care for others in some ways, or show some sort of like I value them to be the best they can be, or something like that.
Yeah, I like that. So just to end, for your snippet or your segment, say your full name.
Oh. Well, my name is Mackenzie Thomas Hibbard, but most people call me Mack.
And you can name, and then the title of your...
Yeah, the title of my social media app we call The Hardest Sport. And if you're interested, I hope you will maybe send me an email, mth84 at akron.edu. Sorry.
No, it's fine. We'll have it in the show notes.
Yeah, you could email me or just email me or something, or message me on LinkedIn or anything. I'll be willing to help. As I said, I want to help others too.
Yeah.
As I'm pursuing my success coming out of high school, or not high school, college. Sorry.
Yeah, well, that's very good. Thanks, Mac.
All right, thank you. And as I said, it's basically this fuel motivation and connection with people, and I hope this will bring value to people and maybe help people pursue their dreams.
That's perfect. That's a great summary.